So we touched on survey questions in the context of publicly available data sets, but whether your survey data comes from public data or private data sources, survey questions have their own particular set of challenges in how you interpret that data, because it's very easy to craft survey questions that generate bias in the response. Bias is the enemy of a good survey. I mean, maybe if your objective is to push results in a certain direction, you think bias is a good thing, but generally speaking, you want impartial, real accurate results. And it's just all too easy to frame questions in a survey in such a way that introduces bias. Bias is bad. One example is through leading questions. An example of a leading question might be, do you think concerned parents should vaccinate their children? Now, the way that's phrased is that if you don't think that parents should be required to vaccinate their children, then you're saying that that parent is unconcerned about their child's welfare, just in the way that that question was phrased. So you're already putting half of your respondents into a corner there. They're going to be defensive, and that's going to bias their answers going forward in the survey. A better way to word that question would be, do you think parents should be required to vaccinate their children? Another issue can be when the types of answers you allow are not broad enough to cover the range of options. They can be too absolute in nature. For example, let's say that I'm selling shaving cream and I want to gather information about how customers use my shaving cream. I might ask, do you always shave before getting dressed in the morning? Well, that's unnecessarily absolute, right? The word always wasn't needed there because sometimes I might skip shaving for whatever reason. So I'm going to say no. Or even worse, I might decide that the available answers to me just don't fit anything that I do, and I might just give up the survey as a result of that. So you want to make sure that the answer options you're providing are detailed enough to get a good response back from your survey respondents. You don't want to force people into yes or no questions when there's kind of shades of gray there that might be applicable. Another example is just a simple customer survey response where I'm asking, would you recommend my service to a friend? Yes or no? Well, it might be more complicated than that, right? I mean, maybe normally I would have, but I had a bad experience this last time, so I'm kind of on the fence. Maybe it depends on how much I like that friend, right? So, you don't want to box people into a corner in their answers. That can also create bias. Another topic around surveys are the types of survey answers that are available to you. So when you're developing a survey, you might just offer single choice answers, basically a yes or no question. And as we pointed out, that needs to be used with care, although they're very simple to process and analyze. If you're in a situation where there's more nuanced opinions between yes and no, a single choice response might not be the right type of survey answer to choose. Another type of survey answer is the multiple choice response, just what it sounds like. For example, when's the last time you shaved? Within 24 hours, 24 to 48 hours, more than 48 hours. That would be an example of a multiple choice response. And again, you need to make sure that the choices you offer will cover the entire range of possible responses there. You can also ask people to rate things on some sort of a scale, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to recommend this product? Or on a scale of 1 to 5, how much did you like this movie? The fancy term for that is a Likert scale. And that just means that I'm asking people to rate the likelihood of doing something, right? So that's a Likert scale, basically giving a response on a scale of some sort where you're rating something. And finally, a text-based response might be an option as well. That's where you allow people to just enter any free-form text that they want in response to a question. For example, tell me your thoughts about this thing, or do you have any additional comments for us? Just let people type whatever they want. Perhaps there are humans that actually look at that data and read and interpret it to gain more insights from the customers, or maybe machine learning is being applied to that and natural language processing to derive the sentiment associated with the text that they typed in. So to recap, the types of survey answers include single choice, multiple choice, Likert scale, and text-based. And again, you want to avoid bias in your surveys by avoiding the use of leading questions and by avoiding the use of answers that are too absolute in nature.